One of the things that attracted me to Donnie when we first met was his imagination. He had a large family of stuffed animals, wind-up toys, and rubber duckies. Don taught and did research at the University of Buffalo Medical School in biophysics and cell physiology, specializing in the electrical activity that makes the heart beat. He lectured from his own textbook, which he illustrated with cartoons. His students loved him. He was also a cool Southern California guy who listened to surf music unplugged and loved to eat fish tacos. He loved to write me goofy cards and give me silly gifts. Donnie was also kind, generous, and deeply sincere. We had both waited a long time to find each other, and we married in the summer of 2004. About 4 years into our marriage, I became alarmed when Don began having uncharacteristic and violent outbursts of anger and road rage. In public, he often embarrassed me with his behavior, letting people know exactly what he thought of them. We had always joked about Donnie being an absent-minded professor, but his somewhat charming forgetfulness began changing into memory lapses. I thought it might be an emerging psychiatric disorder, along with the stress of work, as he was writing grants to secure his tenure. He was often frustrated and knew there was something wrong, but was unable to express it. He was soon treated for depression, high blood pressure, and sleep apnea. Along with his behavior, his diet changed. He craved sweets, especially key lime pie, which he preferred for his birthday and mine. He also dearly loved frosted cutout cookies, which became a staple of his diet. As time went on, he seemed to lack insight into his increasingly strange behavior. He would tap his fingers incessantly on the glass-top kitchen table and rhyme words from every letter of the alphabet. He no longer cared to go out or socialize with friends and family. We were becoming increasingly isolated. I thought he was losing interest in me. One night, having a health crisis of my own and needing him to take me to the hospital, I discovered there was no room in his car for a passenger. It was filled to the top with books, boxes, and coffee cups. Then he could not remember how to get to the hospital, just a few miles from our house. He seemed strangely detached from the whole experience. That summer, Don grew gardens of wildflowers. He would come in at dusk, sunburned but peaceful. He was quiet and aloof, but always let me know how much he loved me. He loved to read, and that and listening to music both calmed and enlivened him. Although only in his mid-50s, he seemed to be aging quickly, losing weight and walking with a shuffle. He was often choking on his food and sometimes fell. After a visit to a neurologist and a series of brain scans, Don was diagnosed with FTD, or young-onset behavioral variant frontotemporal lobe degeneration. The doctor was clear there was no cure, but prescribed medications, some that might slow it down. I felt both relief and disbelief. Don only said, "I've got to get back to my lectures now," and he did, and taught for 2 more years. From then on, we tried to live life as normally as possible. We always shopped for groceries together, and he liked to push the cart. One cold night, as we left the store, I hurried to the car. Looking back, I saw that Donnie was still at the store entrance, unable to move the cart. Don was always recognized as exceptionally brilliant at a young age. As FTD continued to steal my husband away, the doctors said he had great cognitive reserves. He certainly did, and read and studied at home when he could no longer go to work, believing he was on sabbatical. An entry from my journal, December 25th, 2016. I choose to believe, just for today, in a Christmas miracle, that he understands the science he is reading, that he probably wrote, and that it is just a healthy day in his super smart brain. The winter and spring of 2017, Don received PT, OT, and speech therapy.
Bring that arm back down. Now reach, stretch back, reach toward Karen. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Come on, you can reach her. That's it.
It helped and gave him hope. He could navigate fairly well with a walker, but could not remember what was wrong with him. Having a conversation again about FTD would have only upset him, though he could accept me telling him that he had a Parkinson's-like illness.
Okay. All right. We'll maybe hold that for next time. Good job. All right, take it good.
Take a picture.
One midsummer morning, Don fell while getting out of bed. I found him sobbing uncontrollably on the floor. That was the moment he knew this was not going to get any better. He was now my child, helpless and afraid. He became my little shadow, never very far from me. When my husband could no longer be a part of my world, I joined his. Don always loved to do puppet shows with his family of animals. They comforted him, along with visits from children who adored him. He enjoyed being surrounded with his loved ones, books, and cat. Connecting with him through his imagination was a source of joy for me. Respecting him for the person he was, while finding new ways to make him happy, gave me peace. A new relationship grew between us, one that touched the deepest part of our hearts. Our love for each other deepened and was transformed. Don was my awesome man, knocking through FTD. Throughout this difficult, lonely journey, he taught me and others he met the true meaning of love. He was just an altered version of himself and responded with grace as others lovingly tended to him. Time, the world's time, stopped for us. FTD could not rob him of his soul.